difficult for women to get the money that they're supposed to get compared to men. So my question for you is, what is the best advice you would give to somebody that knows they're being underpaid because they are female? What is the best advice you would give to them if they to negotiate? I know that's like a wide, broad question, but to negotiate to get that paid the correct way.
Yeah, so let's take a step back because there's two parts to your question there. One, there are so many factors that contribute to the gender wage gap. And oftentimes what we find is some of the factors are just unconscious bias. Some of that is the professions that women go into. They go into low wage positions. Some of that is access to family care and child care, because we know that the household burdens often fall on women. And we know that women are getting educated. Women are the highest segment of bachelor degree recipients right now in the US. So then part of the wage gap is unexplained, and part of it is due to bias. So if you find yourself in a position where you are being underpaid, the first step is to assess what's going on and get a clear understanding of what your market rate is, because you can't just say, I want to be paid more just for the heck of it. You have to base it in some type of fact. So one of my favorite things, Carrie, is facts over feelings. That's how we start, y'all.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then if you want to negotiate from there, then you take those facts that you've gathered and you have a conversation. So negotiation is just a conversation. It's not a battle. And you prepare an outline of what you want to discuss, and you think about what's in it for the other party. You know, what is our mutual areas of agreement, and how can we have a productive conversation?
That's good. That's really, really good. Let's go back to the facts over feelings, because I feel like we can even go into just being a female in general. We need to just across the board. We need to always assess our facts over feelings in general. I talked earlier in the show about sometimes we allow our emotions to get the best of us. Because we are, as women, emotional creatures. How should a woman, obviously through facts, but how else, if a woman is feeling emotional about something, because we are emotional creatures, how do we control that in a setting when we're talking to our bosses and we're saying, hey, I need to get paid more, and these are the facts. What is the best way, your best advice on how to control those feelings before walking into that meeting?
So I have this method. This is coffee talk. So we're about to get real. I'm a coffee lover, latte lover. I have this acronym that I use. It's a 5-part framework, and it helps you to set up your negotiation strategy in a way that sets you up for a win-win solution. So 5 parts here. L stands for look. A, anticipate. The first T, talk. The second T, think. And then the final step, E, evaluate. So I'm going to quickly give you a little breakdown. Look at the details for your first step. Get as much fact as possible, because information is power. The more you know, the better informed decisions you will be able to make. Anticipate the challenges. So Carrie, think about this. Have you ever been in a situation where after the fact you're like, I should have said this, or I should have done that? And yes, okay. So with that, when anticipating the challenges, you can start to think ahead and say, what might I encounter? But not only what might I encounter, how will I respond to that so that I'm presenting myself in the strongest possible manner? And then our third step is think. So you're going to think about your walkaway point. At what point do you say, I just have to end it right here, or I'll pause this conversation right now, because at a certain point, it's no longer to my advantage to continue on down this path, regardless of what you're negotiating. And then our fourth step is talk it through. So have an outline of what you want to say. Don't try to wing it. Don't shoot from the hip. Don't keep it all in your head. Have that outline. And I'll tell you this also, especially for women negotiating. If you have never said $140,000 out loud, if you go to somebody and you say, you think you're saying $140,000 for as a number, but it comes out like this. $140,000, and so your shoulders kind of shrink up, your head leans to the side, and it sounds like a question. So you got to be confident in what you say. Now, in your talk it out, that's also where you're going to practice what you say. And then our final step, E, evaluate. Not every deal is a great deal. And it doesn't mean that the other person is bad, but it just means that you recognize the power that you have and you have a decision to make. So you just want to be responsible based on the information you gathered. Again, look at the details, step number one, so that you make the best informed decision based on your circumstances.
Awesome. Yes, I absolutely agree with that. And I love that it's called latte. Yes, it definitely, those are amazing, amazing facts. So my question to you too is, because I do have some audience members who are entrepreneurs, how do they take latte when it comes to their business? How would they be able to use that, especially if they're like selling something or if they're going into trying to, just like the negotiation? Is it very similar to that?
Absolutely. So that foundation is the same. Look at the details, anticipate the challenges, think about your walk away point, talk it through, and evaluate the options. Now, the difference between a career person and an entrepreneur is you're looking at a different set of facts. But again, once you go back to that first step, looking at the details, you'll be able to set up your strategy based on that. Now, this is a rule of thumb that I use. For every $10,000 that is on the table in a negotiation, you want to spend at least 1 hour preparing. Because 80% of your negotiation is your preparation. And I talk about that in my book, Don't Leave Money on the Table. And so because most of the time you need to come to the table with your facts and figures, that's a big element of your confidence factor. So given that you do have that element of preparation, when you know that you know that you know what you're talking about, you walk in there with a different je ne sais quoi, and people can vibe off of that. And it changes the tide of your negotiation.
Right. I absolutely agree on that. I have actually recently done that with a client, and I walked in and I was like, okay, okay, I can do this. Like, and I actually got the deal myself, just doing that type of prep work and just having that confidence. And so I can definitely attest to that when it comes to that. Let's talk about women in leadership in general. I know you talk a lot about money, but you are amazing when it comes to talking about leadership in general. How, if you're in a male-dominated field as a woman, how do you gain the respect of your male counterparts that may be below you?
Oh. Okay, so we're getting real, Carrie. Now this is
I know.
this is the thing. You have to have a level of self-awareness to know that not all people will like you, and there's some things that will be out of your control. But when it comes to a professional environment, and because I work with women in male-dominated industries quite frequently, I found several factors to be very helpful in earning the respect when you are the only woman or one of few women inside of a male-dominated company or industry. So data matters. I talked earlier about facts over feelings. You definitely want to use your numbers as your leverage point because you have to be able to go in and back up the things that you know. This doesn't mean that you know it all. So Carrie, I have this statement that I use often, and there's even a chapter in the book on this. It's called emulating excellence. And emulating excellence doesn't mean that you're perfect, but it means that you give your best. So when you're a woman in a male-dominated industry, always do your best. Now, we're all human, right? Another thing is to ask questions, open-ended questions that are expansive, that allow for you to understand another person's point of view. So Stephen Covey has this amazing quote, and he says, seek first to understand, then be understood. So when you're a single factor person in the room, and when I say that, I just simply mean like you're not in the majority of what people look like in the room, whether it's a woman, a person of color, etc. Always seek to understand other people's points of view, because that will help you to communicate effectively with them and help you to enhance your leadership profile. That is a big factor in your executive presence. And then lastly, to wrap up on that point, you want to build relationships. People do business with people they like. So find what you have in common, even though you may on the outside look very different. Find what you have in common, whether it's the company or a sports team or something in your local area, and start building a relationship. And because you have strong professional relationships, that opens the doors and it pulls down so many barriers.
That is so true. That is so true. I recently got out of the corporate sector myself, and that was a big thing for me was when leadership was able to break down those barriers for me, I was able to work better just in my environment. I was able to trust my boss. So it really it's very crucial just in general. I think if there are any men listening right now, that you can take that as well in your own self as a leader as well. So Jacqueline, I also want you to tell a little bit more about this book. You let me get a little bit of a read on it, and I love it. But I want you to talk more about it, because this book has so much information in it. It's so rich. I love it. Thank you so much for writing it, because it's definitely going to help so many women. It's not even just women, just people that are trying to negotiate, but predominantly women. So if you can talk a little bit more about your book and where they can find it, that would be great.
Thank you so much for those kind words. It makes me feel very proud, because I did put a lot into that book. So I really appreciate your feedback. So the book, Don't Leave Money on the Table, it's negotiation strategies for women. And one of the things that I share in the book is the latte method. So I go into detail a little bit more than what I just shared with you a few minutes ago. I will tell you this, I'm getting a lot of feedback from the book, and one of the things that people love is the FAQ section in the back. So I have some negotiation frequently asked questions that I received over the past 5 years, and I think it's awesome that I've been able to compile those, and when people need a quick hit, like, hey, what should I do in this situation, they go to that chapter. I want to share something that Alicia Morgan, who is based out of Dallas, she shared on Twitter this morning from the book. She said, if you find yourself speaking more than the other party, or if they're asking for detailed information without sharing any information with you, take a step back to ensure you're not providing details that will be used against you to the other party's benefit. And that's just an excerpt from the book, Don't Leave Money on the Table. So this is how you can find it. The book's everywhere. You can get it on Amazon and paperback or ebook format. And if you want a signed copy, just go to JacquelineTwillie.com, and we ship books out once a week if you order on our website. And so this book, like you said, it has so much in it, but it is right around 100 pages, and that is by design. I've read so many amazing negotiation books that are 300 plus pages, but when you need to negotiate tomorrow, you need to be able to pick up the book and get straight to it. And that's one of the things that has made me so proud. The book's only been out for a little over a month at this point, and I have heard from at least 7 women who've reached out to me directly. They've used tips and they pulled language straight from the book and used it in their negotiations, and they've got what they've asked for. And it's only been a month, so I'm so excited about that.
Wow, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. I am so happy for you. I'm happy for those women too. Wow.
Yes, it's been a lot of happy tears.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So, Jacqueline, where can they find you on social media? Can you let our audience know?
Yeah, so my favorite place to hang out online is LinkedIn. My name is Jacqueline Twillie. So just let me know you heard the show today, and I'm happy to connect with you. But I'm in all of the places. So all over social media, Jacqueline Twillie. Zero Gap is zerogap.co if you'd like to learn more about our training and development solutions that we offer for companies in traditionally male dominated industries.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time out. Ladies, when I tell you this lady is busy, I look at her Instagram all the time. She is always working. What do you do? Before I go, what do you do? We just started talking about it. What do you do for self-care, Jacqueline? Because I've been telling the ladies self-care is crucial at this point in our lives.
Yes.
So, what do you do?
It is so important, Carrie, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's something that I tell the women that I coach that they have to take time for themselves because you cannot pour from an empty cup. So, given that my work is directly related to providing solutions to so many people, a couple of things are in my self-care practice. I love lattes. It makes me happy. I love spending money on lattes. I love a good flat white as well. So coffee is part of my self-care because it makes me happy. But I also sleep. I try to get 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Now that's not always feasible with my travel schedule, but I try to. And I FaceTime my mom, my nieces, nephews twice a day at minimum. And I don't live in the same city as my family. So for me, self care is having those touch points and that connection with them. And I cannot tell you how happy that makes me. So self care isn't just about bubble baths and spa days and a good glass of champagne. Now, I love some champagne with a splash of gin. I will tell you that. It is delicious, but I think about my values and what makes me happy and what gets me fired up. Now, my work gets me fired up, and I feel very privileged and blessed that I am recharged by my work. But I also love to cook. So I might not have time to go to the store as much as I want, but I'll order groceries online, have them delivered, and I will cook myself a 3 course. Girl, think you're at a restaurant type of meal. So I'm very, very intentional about my self care and spending time with the people that I love.
That's awesome. Yes, that is all the stuff that I do, and I'm gonna have to try that drink, girl.
Yes.
That sounds delicious. Jacqueline, thank you so much for taking the time out. This is truly, truly an awesome experience. We will connect again, and I hope to have you again on the show. This was awesome, and I'm so excited that you came on.
Well, Carrie, thank you for having me on. And I just want to say to you, I've known you for a short time now, but I am so impressed by you. I want to encourage you to keep going strong and having the passion that you have because you have a gift and it's going to touch so many lives beyond what you believe. And so I feel so privileged to be able to support you in this journey. And I cannot wait to see what the next chapter unfolds for you.
Oh, thank you so much. You're going to make me cry on air, girl. I'm an emotional creature over here. But thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon.
All right, bye now.
Bye, ladies. You are on Fishbowl Radio Network, and this is Coffee Talk with Carrie.
All right, y'all. So Coffee Talk with Carrie just wrapped up. So excited that I'm able to share that with my YouTube family. So I'll be doing more of these behind the scenes so you can see what's going on here at Zero Gap on a Saturday. All right, now until next time, continue to emulate excellence and eliminate excuses.